and welcome to my beach hut. So I've just been for a run on the beach. It was supposed to be a sunny run, hence the sunglasses, and then it started raining. So I'm all wet and I'm going to go for a swim in the sea. And I wanted to do this video. I've been wanting to do a video for you for the last few days since the start of 2020 and the start of the new decade, to encourage and motivate you. And the truth is, I have felt exhausted, tired, and not hugely motivated. And that's because I had a very tiring, stressful, and emotional Christmas, visiting family, especially visiting my mum, who is really unwell, and that brought up a lot of feelings for me, a lot of grief. And as you will know, if you've experienced grief, which I'm sure many of you have, it can be exhausting, it can be depressing, and also when we touch on grief, it often brings up lots of other grief from other parts of our lives, earlier parts of our lives, and it all rolls into one, and it can be quite overwhelming. So yeah, if you had any grief this Christmas, I'd love to encourage you to be gentle with yourself. I am trying to do that. It doesn't come naturally to me. Exercise is really good for me, so I've been trying to exercise the last few days. But I've also been trying to get on with my work, and I think that was probably a mistake, that I should have just accepted that I needed a few days rest. But I have been promising a workbook on create your 2020 vision and design your dream decade, and it was on my heart that I'd promised that, and I wanted to fulfill that promise. So it's ready, and if you click on the link beneath this video or next to this video, you will be able to download your free workbook. And yeah, the start of the year, the start of the decade, you know, it doesn't always go to plan. So I had hoped that the first few days would go really well for me, but as I said, I've been very tired. So if it's the same for you, if the first few days of the year haven't been what you want them to be, I'd love you to accept yourself, forgive yourself, and don't panic. There's loads of time. There's loads of time. So we can start our year, our decade, we can start our day whenever we want to. And this is something I had to learn when I was recovering from binge eating, because I would overeat, say at lunchtime, and then that was it. I might as well carry on binging for the rest of the day because I'd broken that regime. Now, if you feel the same, if you're black and white, all or nothing, try and find the shades of grey, the middle ground. So if the week, the year hasn't started as you want it to start, then just start again. Forgive yourself, be gentle with yourself. We can start every day again, one day at a time. So, and as for the new year and the new decade, so why does it matter? Why does it matter? Well, as much as we want to accept ourselves as we are and affirm that we are enough and that we don't necessarily need to change ourselves or change our lives, we also, you know, it's also good to have an intention, to set a course, to have an idea of where we want to go, where we want to be by the end of this year and by the end of this decade. I've never thought of myself as someone who was particularly accomplished at setting goals and achieving them, but something happened to me in the last decade, or in the last few years. You know, the last decade was a roller coaster, to use a cliche. There were times of extreme grief, loss, depression, feeling completely lost in my life and in my career, and then so much change and so much good stuff. I started my blog. I started to express myself on my blog and speak my truth. My blog is From 40 with Love, if you don't know it. I started to understand why I couldn't make a relationship work, why all my relationships had failed. I invested in myself. So I didn't have a huge amount of money coming in, but I absolutely prioritized my self-care. I paid for therapy. I absolutely invested in myself. And I paid for coaching, and I really made some changes. And I fell in love, so I met my partner. I was in and out of that relationship, but then I committed, and we got engaged. Prior to that, I wrote a book called How to Fall in Love, on everything that I had learned over the course of my relationship journey and my life journey, I suppose. So I published the book, bought a house with my husband, got engaged, got married, and that was in June this year. So a lot happened. I also moved out of London and moved to the sea. So many of those dreams and many of those visions that I had on my vision board, they have actually come true. And you know, that is for someone who doesn't think she's particularly accomplished at making things happen. But I have. And how have I done that? Well, I have committed to myself. I have invested in myself. I have spent money on myself, on my personal development, on my self-care. I have forgiven myself. I've accepted myself. I've got a lot of support, and I have stayed my course. It hasn't always been easy, but yeah, I've got there. And this next decade, well, you know, it'll take me, the last decade took me from 38 to 48. The next decade from 48 to 58. And gosh, that is significant. That is really significant. And something that I didn't mention about the previous decade, well, I went through that whole journey around, shall I have children? Will I have children? How can I have children? How do I meet someone who wants children? Oh, I've met someone who doesn't want children. Do I want children? Okay, I won't have children. And coming to terms with that and being accepting of that on some days and not on others. And then making the most of the life that I have and wanting what I have rather than focusing on what I don't. So this decade, 48 to 58, well, 58 for me, gosh, that sounds, yeah. It sounds like I would have liked to have achieved quite a lot of things by that age. And one of the most important things for me is to invest in my writing and focus on my writing. To write. So I have written and published one book, but I have 2 other books that are half written, another book going on in my mind, and I really don't want to give up on myself. I really want to commit to that dream. So how do we know, what other dreams do I want to commit to while I'm talking about my dreams? Well, more travel, more freedom, more abundance, more sustainability in my business, more balance in my life, more stretching of myself, my body in a good way. Physically, I'd love a physical challenge this year, perhaps a cycling challenge. More love, so I have love in my life, but I'd like more love, more friendship, more community, more connection. I really would like to join a choir this year and keep that going throughout the year. So, and perhaps a dog, perhaps the love of a dog. I talk about that all the time, and I'm really struggling with the commitment, but that's something on my heart. So, yeah, and how about you? How about your dreams? And if you're struggling to identify your dreams, just think of those things that you see other people doing and you really wish that you were doing them too. So for me, that's about writing and publishing a book. So when I see other people writing and publishing books, I really want to be doing it. And it breaks my heart that I'm not. So what are the things that break your heart when you think about the fact that you're not doing them? What causes you sadness? Perhaps it's not being in a relationship. Perhaps it's not doing a fulfilling career. Perhaps it's not taking care of your body. Perhaps it's not being outdoors. What is it that makes you sad when you think that you're not doing it? And what do you envy when you see other people doing those things? So hold on to those dreams. And then we need to break them down into small things. So how can we look in our diaries and think, what small step can I take towards that dream so that I can make that happen? We often need support. So you might want a coach. If you'd like some coaching from me, please get in touch. I have courses, I have retreats, I have one-to-one coaching. You might want a different coach. You might want a therapist. You might want a friendship group or a community. So I'm delighted this year to have already committed to writing on Tuesdays. So I have a couple of women I'm going to be writing with in a library, and I'm really excited about that because, like everyone else, I make a commitment to myself and then I don't keep that commitment. So how do we keep our commitments? Well, we get support. We find networks of people, we find an expert, we find someone who can support us. So how can you get support for your goals? So break them down into little things. Find your support network. Get some support for yourself. And then understand what qualities you might need in order to make those things happen. So I know, even though I struggle with lots of things, I know that I'm a determined person. I know that I am ambitious in many ways, ambitious for my life, ambitious for my work, and that can get me into trouble sometimes. I can be a workaholic, but I am, I'm ambitious for my life. I want it to be a wonderful life. I want all the things. I want love, relationship, fun, joy, exercise, sea swimming, travel. I want all those things, and I believe I deserve them. So how can you, so I'm determined. So I know I'm determined. I know I can be persistent. I can also procrastinate and not follow through. So I need support to help me get over those obstacles, those inner and outer obstacles, such as procrastination, worry, anxiety. And I need my inner resources, my determination, my persistence to help me to make things happen. And also I might need to make sacrifices. I might need to look at my life and think, well, if I want that to happen, then I need to let go of that other thing. If I want to write, maybe I need to get up earlier. I need to go to bed earlier. I need to make sacrifices. Maybe I need to save some money towards my goals. So these might be small sacrifices, they might be big ones, but perhaps we need to make some trade-offs. Let's call them trade-offs rather than sacrifices. So what trade-offs might you need to make? So identify your goals, those things that really touch your heart, that make you feel sad if you're not achieving them, that make you, that you really see other people doing them and you think, gosh, I really want to do that. Write them down, and then split them up into tiny steps, baby steps. And then look through your year and think, when am I going to take that step and that step and that step, so that I can end up where I want to be at the end of the year or at the end of the decade. Get your support network in place, invest in yourself, have a look at the trade-offs that you need to make and the qualities that you have in order to make those things happen. And why does it matter? Why does it matter? So as much as I encourage gentleness, self-acceptance, moving at your own pace and at your own rhythm. You know, I am a terrible workaholic, doaholic, and I really have to be careful with that. So go at your own pace, with gentleness and at your own rhythm. Forgive yourself, have a day off whenever you want. But it does matter. It does matter that we identify our dreams and we go for them. So right now, what is on my heart is the fact that I know that I won't always be able to do this. So I can see from my mum, who is quite frail and quite ill and quite incapacitated, I can see that there will come a day that I won't be able to hold this phone and talk to you. I won't be able to operate this phone. I won't be able to run on the beach. I won't be able to operate the key of the beach hut. I won't be able to stand in the shower and shower myself. I won't be able to write. I won't be able to use my computer. So that day will come. That day will come. I imagine it will come to all of us eventually, when we can no longer do the things that we love doing now. So that's why we need to do more of them now. We need to take time, make time to do the things that we love and to make the things happen in our lives that we really want to happen. So it means a lot to me to make these things happen, to make the most of the life that I have, of the health that I have. I have aches and pains in my knees. My knees hurt when I run. I need to do lots more physio, but I absolutely love running. I love swimming. And the other thing I would really like to do this year, so 2020, I often encourage people to choose a word or a phrase or an intention. And my words for 2020 are stretch and share. So stretch my body, more yoga and more strengthening, and more getting my body into a supple place so that it can support me to do the things that I want to do. And share. So I have so much stuff I want to share with you. I have experience, I have wisdom, I believe, around love, relationships, dating, life. I want to share it with you. I want to do that in a way that's sustainable for me, but also in a really generous way. So more video. And I really need to work on my perfectionism, because one of the reasons I haven't done this video is because I've been looking for the perfect backdrop. I wanted to put makeup on. I wanted to look really good and really professional. But that just postpones everything. It never happens. So, and I'm never going to look good enough. I'm always going to look at my wrinkles and think, gosh, I need to put more makeup on. But I'm just doing this video now as it is. Because otherwise it would never get done. So let's remember that done is better than perfect. So I'm hoping to do lots more videos, lots more sharing, lots more engaging with you, and I'd love to encourage you to engage back with me. So as I said, there's a workbook called Create Your 2020 Vision and Design Your Dream Decade, and you should find it somewhere around this video, beneath it, beside it. If you can't find it, go to catherinebaldwin.com and there's a button there and you will find it. I have some free webinars coming up, so you can also find those on my website, catherinebaldwin.com. And I'm wishing you a wonderful 2020, and I hope this is the decade of your dreams. Take care. Bye.